Wonderful. Well, before we start, we've got a couple questions lined up here. And again, if you have a question for Yale, use the raise your hand function on Zoom. But yeah, if you could just start us off with just, I guess your just overall thoughts on having Juan locked in to 2029, and I guess your thinking behind why the club did that and how it's working well.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who followed us for a little bit, I think you've seen kind of how our team has evolved under Juan's leadership. And, for me being in this role, I got to witness firsthand Juan's energy, enthusiasm, and passion for not just creating a winning team and relentlessly focusing on the details necessary to win games, but also how he has implemented a pretty um, clear style of play. And that was really important to us when we were looking at bringing in who we wanted to help our take our club from our very bad season in 2022 forward. We looked at not just getting a coach who we thought could help the team win, but really to implement a style of play that was uniquely ours and that we could build off of. And those are things that Juan, over the last two seasons and now heading into his third, has done an extraordinary job of. So for us, consistency in building on those things is really important. The value of having a clear style of play and player profiles that we are scouting against is that, as you guys have hopefully seen, regardless of which players are in which roles on which day, we always look like Gotham at this point, and it's something we're continuing to evolve and continuing to build off of, and we're getting better and better at playing our style. So, Juan has brought that. He is the owner of the methodology. He has instilled in us a belief and a confidence in our style, and every single day has pushed everyone here, including myself, to be better and to focus on the correct details necessary to win. So we're always evolving. We're always looking to get better, and Juan is a huge part of pushing us in that direction.
All right, thank you, Yael. First question is from Jenna.
Hi, Yael. Thanks so much for taking the time. I wanted to ask about 5 years. I, off the top of my head, cannot remember a NWSL coach being signed on for that length of time. So, just what does that say for you, or what can you tell us about the confidence that you have in Juan and why you decided to lock in with him for so long?
Yeah, for me, I think some of, a huge focus of ours is on consistency and building around the core of something. When we at the club think that we're onto something special and we're onto something good, we want to build around that core. And that means part of that is, surrounding Juan and surrounding myself with people who make us better. So it's hiring a wonderful staff surrounding Juan, but really to build off of something that we can be consistent on. And for me, what I've seen all too often in my playing career and at this club and through NWSL is a team builds a little bit, then starts over, and they build a little bit and starts over. And for us, in terms of trying to be sustainably and consistently at the top of the table, we feel that it's really important to continue to build. And that doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect and it's always going to be in an upward trajectory. But for us, it's about, iterating on the things that we feel are special and make us good. And we definitely have that. We saw that right away with Juan in 2023 for different reasons last year and in a different way. We saw how we could be special in other ways, and we want to continue to add to that list and then to strengthen the areas that we think we can be better in. So for us, committing to building is very important at the club, not just through Juan and his leadership on the field, but in everything that we do holistically.
And 5 years in the NWSL is kind of like an eternity, just like relative to other sports leagues. And I'm just curious, kind of where you see Gotham being in 5 years. Like what's the 5 year plan, so to speak?
Yeah, it's really hard to answer because the game is evolving at such a fast rate, and we're all very excited about both what we know about women's soccer, which is NWSL is here to stay and is growing, and the investment is huge, and that hasn't always been the case. I think we maybe take for granted now that you can even plan 5 years ahead, but I remember there was a day not too long ago where no one ever knew. Was there another year? Was there two more years? So we're in a really special place as a league where we can think longer term. And also, I think the women's game is evolving in a really interesting way, and there is becoming a global landscape. We're involved in competitions, not just in NWSL, but in the CONCACAF Champions League, and hoping to be part of the first Club World Cup and things as a club that, we're looking forward at yes, how do we separate ourselves as a club and stay at the top of an incredibly competitive NWSL? We're watching what our opponents are doing, and it's really impressive, and it's wonderful for the league. And we're also looking globally and worldwide, and can Gotham cement our name, our logo, our brand as one of those top clubs in the world? So looking over the next 5 years at how the women's game is evolving into this global landscape and global competition, we are very ambitious about being part of that and being at the top.
Thank you so much.
Pardeep, go ahead.
Hi, Yael. Congrats on all of this. Noticed in the press release there was something about how Juan shifted the culture at the club when he showed up, and you were talking about how he's pushed you at times to keep everything trending in the right direction. I'm wondering if you have some examples that you can pull up that come off the top of your head of, those the ways that he's pushed you and pushed the club in the right direction, outside of what you already mentioned, which you did mention quite a lot, so thank you for that.
Yeah, the examples like flooded. Juan is one of the most competitive people I've probably ever met. He is so focused on every detail that he feels like is necessary to win. And there are things that, quite honestly, I didn't even think of as a player when I was playing. And obviously, I wanted to win the games too. But the details that he has covered and the amount of detail he demands from the people around him. Hey, can you look into this? Can you make sure the training field that we're training out on this away game is watered at the same time before our training session that it will be watered before on game day? I'm like, I haven't even thought of those things in my life. And these are things that right away really struck me. And now they've become kind of normal. So it's actually hard to pull examples, but it's things like that, to that level of detail, of the type of preparation, and trying to foresee all of the moments that could happen in a game and make sure we're rehearsed and prepared for them. And quite often, yeah, they sometimes catch me off guard, or I have to kind of put in extra work to figure out how to do things. And it's been really interesting for me to understand all of the things that as a player I didn't think of, that now I think our coaches and our staff and our support staff are thinking of on behalf of the players, but also the onus on the players to focus in every single moment and be prepared for every moment. And I really admire it, honestly, when I watch the focus and the amount of detail oriented thinking that our players and our staff are doing on a daily basis. Yeah, it requires an immense amount of endurance, mental endurance. But yeah, it's things like, I think the field watering example was one that in year one I was blown away. I was like, I've never heard of anybody ask for something like this. I didn't even think about the fields getting watered, let alone what time they were getting watered. But yeah, everything from, the playing surface and to preparation for understanding the layout of the field, which side the penalties would be on, where the VAR box is going to be, just so that everything is mapped out for him and for the people he's working with mentally and preparing. He leaves no
God, it's
stone
so
unturned.
fascinating. And just to follow up actually off a question Jenna asked, the length of the 5-year deal, is part of that just the financial realities of NWSL clubs now, where maybe once upon a time offering a contract that long wasn't so much of an option, but definitely is now?
I think, not in taking just the consideration of our club and not really thinking too much about like what's possible for every team. I think for us, Juan's early success here not only was an indicator to us that we wanted to continue to build and build around him, but also it caught the attention of other clubs around the world. So we can't lie and say that it wasn't also a bit of a defensive play. Obviously, we want to build and we want to set enough time that we can truly strategize and build a staff that suits Juan, and recruit players that we feel like right now, but also in the future of our roster will be players that will do well in the system and style we're playing. And also, yeah, quite honestly, we recognize that he is now sought after worldwide, and wanted to make sure that we could protect our talent.
All right. Thank you so much.
Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to ask about, competition for Juan. Were you aware of anything specific, or had you heard anything through the grapevine, or was this more of a general kind of trying to preempt any other suitors?
I think a little of both. There's always rumors, and you see a big club without a coach. They're doing a coaching search. Like, without even knowing facts, you can imagine. You're looking around the world and you're looking at the best coaches, and we believe that Juan has gotten his name in that mix, certainly. And So yeah, as coaching jobs free up every time, we're kind of like bracing
Yeah.
ourselves and open no calls. Um, but yeah, the women's game, the coaching pool is still evolving, and it's not an incredibly deep pool. There are not hundreds of coaches out there that top clubs can consider. And we really feel like we've found someone very special, and that we recognize that other clubs are going to be doing the same search that we did a few years ago.
Thanks.
Peyton, go ahead.
Hi, Al. I have two questions. The first is just kind of what the significance means to the club, the players, you to have that 5 year kind of stability around having that head coach in place and being able to kind of work on those systems, as you've mentioned. If there's anything that you could elaborate on beyond that.
Something we've been focused on a club as a whole is kind of decreasing the amount of variability and the amount of uncertainty in even just the day to day. And it's a work in progress for us. I cannot say that we are, every day is uniform and people know exactly what to expect. I don't think anyone in NWSL can say that realistically. But for us, from a high performance perspective, the fewer things as an athlete that you have to wonder about or worry about if they're going to change, and the things you can rely on and you can build on and you can understand as a norm, as the routine, then you can focus your energy on the real special moments and the moments necessary to go above and beyond and have an incredible performance and those things. So generally, and I think this is part of the strategy, the more we can provide certainty and provide stability for players to know what to expect. We're trying to move things in that direction. And like I said, still room to grow in that, but this is one area where now, we can really truly continue to build based on our style, our methodology, and the players who have done well here.
Thank you. And then we've also just seen recently as you and Juan have mentioned, the CONCACAF Tournament Club World Cup being moved back to 2028. I do know that CONCACAF, I believe, has two direct slots. I was wondering if you've received confirmation if that's been changed for if this tournament that you guys are currently playing in that first iteration is still going to have the winner be guaranteed a direct entry to that world tournament, and if that at all played a factor in wanting to have that continued coaching throughout that tournament, since that is a goal that you guys have voiced that you want to do well in or win, as Juan just said, that first tournament on the world stage.
Yeah, I really can't speak to what's confirmed or not with the rules. I can't say that I'm an expert on that, so I don't want to give any wrong information there. But I will say for us, the opportunity to compete in the CONCACAF Champions League is a huge priority for the club, and to win that tournament, that event is hugely important to us. We're at the point where this is the first one, so it's history in the women's game. There's never going to be another first. So we're very honored to be able to participate in the first one. We are hoping to win. We're really ambitious about that, and we are awaiting details and confirmations, um, probably similar to you guys. So I will leave. I don't know, Jeff, if you know to fill in that, but I think I'm not prepared to comment on where we are with that.
Had to ask, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I don't know. We got time for one more. Michael, go ahead.
Hi, Yael. I was wondering if you've ever gotten any input from the players, whether it be you asking them or them coming to you about their opinions of Juan Carlos and whether you should re-sign him before re-signing him to this contract.
Yeah, obviously we receive from Juan's first day here, I've received feedback every day, every week on the things going well, the things we want to improve. And it's an ongoing cycle here of feedback. So I have received a lot of feedback over time. And I think what we're focused on is understanding what are the things that players feel are really good and that, are Juan's strengths, and me evaluating that too. And the areas that the players have wanted improvements in is how can we build a staff? It's not a coaching team is a team. It's not, Juan is not expected to do every single job of preparing the team to play on the weekend. He has set a great framework, and he's a great leader in that. And our goal is to take the feedback of the players and to surround Juan by other people who continue to make him better and who the players can rely on. So we feel very strongly that we have established, and you guys have seen the announcement on our coaching team. We have a very robust coaching team with specialized roles, And those decisions and those roles and the construction of the team are all very heavily based on the feedback we've received from players.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yael. Thanks.